off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, home to the Asian Oprah, number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Streaker, Spreaker, and more. Why so many places? I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. And frankly, my dear, I do not want you waking up doing MS, meaningless scrolling, or listening to the news, either on your phone or on your device, TV, or whatever the device is, because it will leave you with the 4 A's. Angry, aggravated, afraid, and anxious. And that is not the way I want you to start your day. Instead, I want you to feel amazing. And tune in here, where we don't talk about any headlines at all. In fact, there's no bad news, really, because if there is bad news, we've got solution for it. And today is no exception. We have in studio my newest series called Beating Cancer with Nutrition. And you see my co-host here. His name is Mark Simon. And last week, you know, he was extremely helpful with respect to probiotics, prebiotics, and gut health. He is a clinical nutritionist with a specific focus on cancer prevention and treatment. He's also the CEO of NORI Nutraceuticals, which manufactures specialty nutritional supplements. If you listened to his very first interview with me before we started the series, you'll remember my finding out and how happy I was what cancer cells actually thrive on, and conversely, what they will starve without. So if you know anyone right now who has cancer, or if you have cancer yourself, you're in the right place, feel free to share. All of his information is based on his experience in this. This is not medical advice, as a what do they call those? Disclaimers. But you know, on this show, everything that I talk about is based on our experiences and our research. So it's not everything, but it's not nothing. It's certainly 88% incredibly useful, which is my goal. And so without further ado, please welcome back to my studio, Mark Simon. Welcome back, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Absolutely. We're going to start, as we always do on this show, with breakfast. Mark and I are going to have breakfast together. Actually, invite you all to take a bite of my gratitude sandwich, top of the bun. What are you grateful for that is just, within eyesight that you appreciate? And then tonight, before you go to bed, I want you to look this way, look inside, and say, what do I like and appreciate inside of myself? What do I like about myself? That way you're going to have a good night's sleep instead of thinking about all the things you didn't get done, or who did you wrong, or how you did you wrong. Instead, what did you do right? So that's what we're going to do. Top of the bun, what are you grateful for? I am super grateful that my daughters, both of them, are coming down from San Francisco for the holiday. And we're going to make that giant thing that I'm not going to talk about with Mark because he's a vegan, but we're going to eat the traditional. And we're going to I just adore my daughters. And they're far enough away in San Francisco, and it's always delightful when they come down to have a family, or a mamily, I call it, Thanksgiving. That's what I'm grateful for. Mark, what are you grateful for?
I think I'm grateful for the rain. It washes everything clean. The air's super clean and crispy, and the soil gets all the replenishment of water that it needs, and things are going to get ready for the spring.
Absolutely. My daughter loves it, especially the gray. I'm solar powered. I like the sun, but
Mhm.
Sarah
Yeah,
loves it when it's rainy and gloomy.
I,
All
I
right,
like
let's go to. Oh, sorry. What were you going to
I
say?
like the sun too. I thrive in the sun, but
Yeah,
you have to accept both because
that's
both
right.
are necessary for life.
Balance is the answer, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the bottom of the bun, which is what do I like about myself? This is weight training for your mental health. Because frankly, if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect anybody else to? It is my BS, my belief system that
Mm.
um, self care, self approval, self soothing are the foundation of good mental health. And a lot of us don't know what that is because we're constantly looking to others to give us that self approval. And there's the siren to tell you that that is the absolute highlighted truth for
Mm.
right now. I know that if you know how good you are, you'll be less likely to have your antenna up, always looking for likes, literally on social media these days. Instead, I want you to know how great you absolutely are, as all of us are, one of a kind, wonderful. Not a throwback in the bunch, as my big brother Michael Beckwith will say. So, what do you like about yourself? I'll start it off. I like the fact that even when I don't feel like doing something like getting up early and going to the gym and working out, I do it anyways. And then I always feel better after. And I know it's good for my body and my health and my cells. So the ability to be disciplined, I appreciate about myself. What about you, Mark?
What's coming up is non-judgment, being non-judgmental of myself and others. That we're all here and we're all imperfect, and there's no reason to be judgmental of anybody. Unless they're evil and doing some evil, terrible things, then that's okay. But for all the other stuff, nah, doesn't make any sense to judge oneself or anybody else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I forgot to do I didn't forget. I've been doing the stories for Instagram to tell everybody that we're on live right now. I've got Mark Simon in studio today. He's the founder and director of NORI Nutritional Oncology Research Institute. And what is our topic for today? Hold on. I've got a new little thing here. Nobel Prize. What is our topic today, Mark?
Balanced nutrition, how to achieve balance in the foods that you're eating for optimal health and longevity.
Absolutely. And we started this topic last week. I actually forced him to pick this topic for this week because I wanted to put the moose on the table, my Canadian version of talking about the elephant in the room. I wanted to talk about the food pyramid, how we grew up with some BS, some belief systems
Mhm.
that may or may not be true now, and or the sort of the story behind the story, even of the food pyramid itself. So this is not just for cancer patients or cancer, loved ones. This is for everybody.
Mhm.
And even though our series title is Beating Cancer with Nutrition, this will also help you if you do have cancer or know someone who has cancer. But the biggest link that I want to make with this series and why I invited Mark to be my newest co-host here is because this is really like, it's not rocket science, but honestly, I didn't grow up understanding nutrition and what it did to my body outside of you need to have this, the food pyramid. That was one. And then after the food pyramid, it was calories because dieting, right? So you don't look at
Mhm.
nutrition, you just look at the number of calories. Everything was, Weight Watchers points, and it's all based on calories, which is not a good measure of what's good for your body. So that's why I forced you to talk about this. And
Sure.
last week, Mark gave me a challenge. What was the challenge?
To try eating only fruit for a few days to a week and see what happens.
So I did 4 days total. So
Mhm.
I had to overachieve your 3 day. I did not do it consecutively, except for 2 days consecutively, and
Mhm.
then 2 days consecutively, only because I was it's the only day that I could go on this
Mhm.
date.
Mhm.
And he asked me what I wanted, and I felt like sushi. So that was
Yeah.
my excuse. But I have to report that one, I was surprised at how full slash not hungry I was the entire day. And I
Mhm.
didn't eat like gobs and gobs of fruit. I'll tell you exactly what I had in the first 2 day thing. I went and bought a Mexican papaya,
Mhm.
bought a Hawaiian papaya, I bought a small watermelon. I had a gift from friends. I had 4 persimmons. I had a little bag of tangerines. I had one full pomegranate. I had a whole gaggle of longan, which is a Chinese fruit. It's the cousin of
Mhm.
the lychee.
Mhm.
Um, is that it? Yep, that's it. So
Wow.
that's what I had
Yummy.
for, and bananas
Yeah.
and cauliflower, a whole head of cauliflower, and 2 things of corn. So that
Mhm.
was 4 days worth of food.
Mm.
And I was not hungry. I like the whole day I was not hungry. I felt good. I definitely did get more regular, right?
Mhm.
So
Sure.
the fiber that you told me about. So I deserve a little good on me. Hold on.
Mhm. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So
I
now
definitely
you're
will do it again.
introduced to true clean eating. Very
I
good.
Thank you. And I don't know if I necessarily felt more energetic because I have to be honest, I am the cross between the Energizer
Mm.
Bunny and the
Yeah.
Tasmanian Devil already. So I people would be like, "Oh my god, no, she doesn't need more energy."
Uh-huh.
So but the thing that really struck me is what I said. I couldn't believe how there were no hunger pangs at all
Mhm.
compared to when I go on a diet of, no pasta or the no carb diet. When I tried that keto diet
Mhm.
once, I was starving. Like
Yeah.
all I could think about was food. So that was really a wonderful discovery.
You're providing your body everything your body needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
Healthy carbs, minerals, vitamins, fiber. Yeah.
and would you say that I'm thinking I could do this, on a regular basis. Is there any value of doing like fruit for 2 days a week?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure,
Not every
absolutely.
day. I don't know if
Yeah.
I could do it every day because I gotta be honest. I
There-
m- I
mhm.
missed, I
Yeah.
missed some
Well,
things that I like.
so there are different variations. So what I practice myself is I do fruit only in the morning, fruit only breakfast. And I think that's a really good approach. And then you could add in to that, a couple days, 1 or 2 days a week, you do fruit only. That's going to provide a huge amount of benefit.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so I now I'm going to put the moose on the table and you're going to yell at me. But I have unless it's brunch, unless it's a special breakfast,
Mhm.
I do the intermittent fasting, so I
Mhm.
eat between 12 and 8. I've never been a breakfast person.
Okay.
In fact, if I do have breakfast, I am craving the rest of the day. People say that that is ridiculous. You have to have breakfast. It's the most important
Mhm.
meal of the day, blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. My body doesn't seem to need 8 hours of sleep. My body doesn't seem to
Mhm.
need breakfast, and I'm not starving by
Yeah.
sometimes I forget to eat until 2 o'clock
Mhm.
because, I'm fine. So if it's working
Mhm.
for me,
Yeah. Well, maybe you could just do your lunch as fruit.
so you're not going to yell at me for not having breakfast?
No, no,
Oh, okay. Why?
because it sounds like it's kind of a habit that you developed, and there's no reason to change it.
I like that answer.
But just try to include more fruit in your diet. And the best way to eat fruit is just to eat fruit alone. Don't ever eat fruit for dessert because it'll sit there and ferment in your stomach. So fruit's always eaten alone by itself. It's this whole food combining thing. Do you remember there was a book a long time ago called Fit for Life, Harvey Diamond, and he talked a lot about food combining, and it really makes a huge difference.
Okay,
Yeah.
talk to me about that. Maybe or maybe we do that next week, but
Yeah.
I honestly I don't know what that means.
So certain foods digest really quick and fast, leave the stomach really quickly, and that's fruit. Fruit doesn't sit in the stomach maybe for more than half an hour, 45 minutes, and then it's released into the small intestine. Whereas other foods can sit there for hours and hours and hours. So you don't want fruit sitting in your stomach for a long time because it'll ferment, just like when you make wine or beer. So those kinds of foods should be eaten alone and eaten first, then followed by the slower digesting foods.
So you don't want to eat it last.
You do not want to eat your fruit last. You want to eat your fruit first.
Okay. So not good to eat it before bed then.
That would actually be okay as long as it's a few hours after your dinner. You could have a fruit snack at night. That would be
Okay.
okay.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So let's go to the heart of what I wanted to talk about, which was the food pyramid. So at the risk of giving up my hashtag agelessness, I grew up in Canada with the food pyramid, and
Mhm.
I thought that was the Bible until I watched one of those programs when Netflix first started becoming the place to go to see interesting things. And I can't even remember which show it was, maybe Forks Over Knives, something like that.
Mhm.
And they talked about the politics behind the food pyramid.
Yeah.
So let's look at, I'm trying to bring it up right now, the old food pyramid. And this is a 3D look. So that does, okay, this one looks more. Here, let me pull this up so we can both look at it. And you tell me okay, I know it's small. How's that? Is that better? Okay. So we've got on the bottom vegetables, salad, and fruit, whole meal cereals, milk, yogurt, cheese, meat, poultry, fish, fat, spreads, and oils, and foods and drinks high in fat, sugar, and salt. Wait. This is not the food pyramid I grew up with.
That's an old one.
That's an old one. Well, it's not good too, right?
No.
Yes. So let's talk about this one. Well, actually, I want to pull up the one that let me put. What should I call it? The older original food pyramid.
Well, now they do something different. They've actually just show a plate, with proportions of different things on the plate, which is a little easier, a little better concept. But
Yeah.
still political.
Uh-huh.
It's influenced by the beef producers and the egg producers, and
Is this
mostly animal
like
products.
an older one or no? See, this is different now, right? So
Yeah,
the other one had fruits and vegetables on the bottom. This one has grains on the bottom. Do you see this?
yeah, I don't agree with that.
Okay, this is also, I put in original and gave me this.
Yeah.
Now, the original, let's just stick with this one right now. So I remember the meat being like lower down, right? And the
Yeah.
milk, dairy was also lower down.
Mhm.
And from that expose documentary, it said that the people who were on the board who actually created the pyramid were kind of like their self-interest, right?
Yeah.
So the dairy farmers and the beef farmers were on the board. And of course, those got like main spots, which always, it was like, how did they
Mhm.
get away with that?
Yeah.
Speak to that.
Well, so that is the truth. So when the USDA comes up with these dietary guidelines, yeah, it's influenced by the big agricultural producers, mainly dairy and eggs, and they have huge lobbies and government, and the meat producers, the pork, the beef, the chicken. These are big corporate entities, and they have a huge amount of power and say so on dietary recommendations that are given out to the public.
Yeah. Did you
Oh,
know it was actually originated in Sweden? I didn't know that. The
hmm,
food pyramid.
yeah,
So go
yeah.
ahead.
I don't see the pyramid much anymore. What I see is this plate, of, with the proportions of different foods on the plate, and they show protein. And here's what's really important to understand. We do not need to eat animal products for protein. There's more than enough protein in plant-based foods. There we go. There's the plate.
Is this one accurate?
Well, just take all the animal products off of it and I'd be happy.
So you would
So,
take out this, the fish, all the meat, egg, fish,
yeah,
this one,
yeah, take that away.
that's a quarter, right?
Yeah, take it away.
Take it away.
Has no use, no purpose, no good
Okay.
for the body.
Okay.
Fruits and vegetables. You got half of the plate is fruits and vegetables. That's all good.
And then the
Whole
other half,
grains,
whole grains.
whole grains could come or go.
Uh-huh.
Some people don't do well on a lot of grains, and they're not really necessary components of the diet. Fruits and vegetables are really the foundation. And you need some concentrated calories, so that could come from potatoes and squashes. As far as grains go, rice is probably the least harmful. And then you can also throw in some beans. And then there's nuts and seeds in small amounts. So that meat and others, which we're tossing out, you could put the nuts in there and some seeds, and maybe instead of whole grains, maybe you could put beans. But we don't want to eat all these things all at once at a meal. There you go.
So this one is from the government.
Yeah.
Myplate.gov. So
Right.
it's not saying meat, it's just saying protein.
Protein. Yeah, because
Right.
protein means, in most people's mind, protein equals meat.
Right.
Or dairy or eggs or fish, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
we got a picture
but
there.
protein could also mean beans, nuts, seeds. These are very high protein foods, which supply more than adequate protein in the diet. Yeah, and the dairy can go away completely. We don't need to drink milk, especially not cow's milk. When we're little babies, yes, we need mother's milk, for sure. It's the perfect food for a growing baby.
Mm-hmm. But this is so counter what we grow up with, though, on the dairy. And this, again, I think is one of the, what do they call it? Like, it's like, bias. There's another word for it,
Yeah.
right? But how are they allowed to? Well, anyways, I'm not going to blame anybody. It just is right now, and what we're doing is balancing, right?
Yeah.
What the common misconceptions are, and just if you haven't watched any of those kind of things, I know the original when stuff started coming out about. Let's see. I'm the average person. Again, right now, I'm going to be real. The first time I heard about all of this is someone at my I was consulting for a company and they were planning the retreat because I do facilitation for strategic planning, and somebody said, oh, we have to order this blah blah because there's someone who's a vegetarian in the group. And eyeballs rolling and oh my god, we have to completely change our menu for that one person. And then a couple of years later it was, oh my god, we've got vegans in the group. So my introduction, like I think the average person, keeping it real, putting the moose on the table, was pain in the neck, outliers controlling the menu, and they're crazy. And then I the next step in my education was I really need to find out the name of that. There's a number of those movies that everybody should watch. But in particular, it was looking at the level of corn syrup in all of our grocery stores, in the products. It was looking at all of the processing, all of the fertilizer that goes, all of the coloring that goes into the food, and this incredible lobbyist control of the information of the pyramid that I grew up with. And I thought, how did they get away with that? How could you have a dairy farmer sitting on the committee to create a pyramid and say that dairy is one of the major categories when you're saying, and not just you, I mean, there's medical, all this research saying that dairy is not good for you.
Correct.
Why is dairy not good for you?
Well, let's talk about animal products in general. The number one thing is they contain zero fiber. So instead of thinking in terms of protein as being the most important macronutrient, it's fiber that's really the most important macronutrient in our diet. Americans are lacking in fiber in a really, really bad way, and that affects the gut and the gut health and many other things downstream. So I think experts are really realizing now the importance of high fiber. So if you displace a food group that has no fiber in it, not displace it, but let's say you have a food group that has no fiber in it and it's displacing foods that have the fiber, you're going to create trouble. And then on top of that, we've got all the ultra processed foods, which generally have very little fiber. because it's just oil and white flour, chemicals, and that's not good either. So, we want to maximize fiber intake. So where's fiber? Fiber is in whole foods, fruits and vegetables, whole grains and beans and nuts and seeds. That's the foundation. If you did want to do a pyramid, you'd have that at the base, and then everything else above it, that pyramid would be detrimental to our health. Ultra-processed foods, animal products, and I don't care if they're organic, free range, pasture raised, it doesn't matter. It's just outright unhealthy for many reasons. It's much more unhealthy because of the way the animals are fed and the animals are raised, and the antibiotics and chemicals and everything, that they accumulate in their short life as a farm animal. So, yeah, the optimal health is achieved through plant-based nutrition. Optimal health, optimal longevity, whole food, low fat, plant-based nutrition. So we know that diabetes is not really a disease. It's an imbalance.
Okay, that's an interesting.
It's an imbalance in macronutrients. It's too much fat in the diet. And so when you look at that plate, it's got too much fat in it because you got fat from dairy, you got a lot of fat, in the animal products. And of course, everybody's using oils and things and like that. And all this excess fat creates insulin resistance, which is type 2 diabetes. Okay, so
Interesting.
you want to get rid of diabetes, you just simply lower the fat intake. But to lower the fat intake, you need to take those animal products out of the diet. You need to cut back on your oils and go easy on avocado and nuts and seeds, and you'll be fine. You can fix diabetes in a couple days. You just got to get that fat out of the diet. Fat has a funny way of metabolizing, and it tends to build up in our muscle cells and liver cells, and it builds up to toxic levels, which causes a problem with the insulin receptor signaling, which would allow sugar, glucose, into the cell. There's a really good video on my website on this by Dr. Greger. So I got off track a little bit. So animal products are responsible for diabetes. They're responsible for heart disease. They're responsible for colorectal cancer. There's no, in my mind, people are not going to like this, but there's no health benefit to eating any animal products at all. There's nothing, you hear about foods that are healthy and good for you. Fruits and vegetables, they stand out as the healthiest foods for us. Are there health benefits to any specific animal product? No. Never proven.
Is the film?
Oh, there's that book. So that book, Mastering Diabetes, that's an excellent book if you want to really learn how to correct diabetes, through diet the right way, instead of, taking all these anti-diabetic drugs. Yeah, just mastering.
Interesting.
Yeah, and what they say is, you got to cut out the fat, cut out the animal products, and really increase your fruits and vegetables. Healthy carbohydrates, not refined carbohydrates, but whole food healthy carbs, which includes fruits and vegetables and beans and potatoes and corn and all this stuff.
So this is exactly why I wanted this series. So this is a new uh concept again. The ones that just like blow me away. Here's another one. So the first, I think I told you what blew me away was that looking at cancer like a living cell that could be starved and
Mhm.
could be fattened. And
Mhm.
that's not something that I think people think about. You think about cancer, you think about chemo. There's no other
Yeah.
solution. So here's another one. You think about diabetes, you think about taking insulin, right? That is
Mhm.
oh, you're pre-diabetic, and I just talked to someone else who had numbers in their blood, yearly blood count thing that said you're heading towards diabetes. And then
Mhm.
the first thing is, oh, gonna get on you're gonna go through the whole prick the finger or, take drugs, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And that is our fix, right? As Americans, Canadians, as
Mhm.
this uh, first world country, we go to that quick fix slash pharmaceutical solution.
Mhm.
And here is a concept that I know that I'm hearing about for the first time, that even diabetes is something that is related to what we eat. We can
And
we can develop diabetes
right.
over what we can eat. That's the bad news. The good
Yeah.
news is we can treat diabetes without taking medication that has side effects, which are actually main effects.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's like that's another, that's a moose drop.
Yeah. And don't forget lifestyle. Don't forget lifestyle either. Exercise is critical
Right.
too
Right. But
in all this.
yeah, but I think diet
Diet
is
is
not
the key.
something that I am educated on
Yeah.
for these things. Here's you've got a great resource. I know there's a lot more people out there who know people or are affected by
Yeah.
diabetes.
There are 30 million people in the United States who are diabetic. Mostly type 2. So
Is that more than cancer?
type 1 is when the pancreas is not producing sufficient or enough insulin, or maybe not producing insulin at all. And that's a very small percentage, but the vast majority of diabetes patients, it's type 2. There's plenty of insulin there, but the insulin's not triggering the receptor, the insulin receptor, which then would allow the blood glucose to enter into the cells. So it's blocked. That's insulin resistance, and it's real easy to fix.
Is this you, Nori? The Nori protocol?
That's me.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And
So, those who
nothing
can't
gets
read,
seaweed.
that are driving, this is a book called Mastering Diabetes: The Revolutionary Method to Reverse Insulin Resistance Permanently in Type 1, Type 1.5, Type 2, Prediabetes, and Gestational Diabetes, forward by Neil Barnard. Newly published, highly recommended. And the dietary recommendations parallel those within the NORI protocol. The key message is to limit all forms of fat to less than 15% of total calories. NORI recommends a lower fat threshold between 5 to 10% of total calories. Insulin resistance is primarily due to excess fat buildup in liver and muscle cells.
Mhm.
So you can get this through Barnes & Noble, Amazon, masteringdiabetes.com. That's great. And here's the film I was talking about too.
Forks over knives.
Forks
Yeah.
Over Knives.
Yeah.
This was like amazing to me. So those of you who haven't seen this, I would highly suggest watching this to kind of kickstart yourself
Mhm.
into some BS, or challenging some BS systems that you may have as a habit.
Yeah. And the knives refers to scalpel. It's forks over scalpels.
Right? Is the next one film?
Oh, there's a film for it, but see on the book cover, it shows, a fork in the hand, and then down below knives, it shows a scalpel.
Oh, I see.
That's kind of the choice. You either, eat right, or you're going to go under the knife.
Oh, this whole time I thought it was something else.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like forks over knives that you need to cut meat.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny.
Yeah, you don't get it that way
that's what I
too.
thought it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it works.
Yeah.
But this is even more severe.
Yeah. Kind of looking at, open heart surgery, you don't fix your diet, they're gonna crack your chest open. Well, first cut through the skin with a scalpel, and then crack your rib cage open and do what they do. Coronary bypass surgery.
And this is where I know I'm gonna open a Pandora's box here. But I'm gonna do it because you know me, I gotta put the moose on the table. This is a giant moose. When people say I had a triple heart bypass, I have stents put in, I have a blocked artery, there's no second response of saying, I really have to watch. I have not been responsible for what I put in my body that is directly related to me being paying for, or the healthcare system paying for your bypass. The fact that I had bacon and eggs every single day of my life, and steak and eggs, or that's a matter of pride that I'm a meat and potatoes and a giant dessert. That's normal. And there's no connection and no responsibility between that and, oh my God, I'm, $80,000 triple bypass that. And it's like, same with smoking. I smoked all my life, and it's like, oh, poor me, I have lung cancer, but I smoked my, right? And then let's do one more, just because I'm on a roll. I might as well put all the moose on the table. Is obesity. It's, yes, there are people who are just naturally, right, and they eat healthy, and that's their body type. Samoans, I'm not saying all Samoans, but there is a cultural, not everybody who's obese is irresponsible in what they put in their body. However,
there are people who are genetically predisposed,
but that is
way easier. But the answer is, again, plant-based diet, whole foods. The caloric density is pretty low in these foods. Caloric density is very high in animal products. So, and all these ultra processed foods too. So you go on a healthy, whole foods, plant-based diet, your weight's going to come off. It's going to normalize. It could even go too low. I have, when I'm treating cancer patients, sometimes their weight goes too low. We have to adjust things a little bit to make sure they get enough calories every day, so they keep their weight up.
So I put all those moose on the table. We missed our break, so I have to take a break right now.
Screamed right through it.
I know. Don't go away. We're going to come back with solution when we come back here on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, and our very special new series called Beating Cancer and any other. Today we're diabetes with nutrition with NORI founder Mark Simon. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Well, she has been dubbed the Asian Oprah, and she just wants all of us to be happy.
Dr. Marissa, aka the Asian Oprah, says the most important thing you can choose is choosing to be happy.
You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa.
That's the idea for Dr. Marissa Pay's new book called 8 Ways to Be Happy.
Many of us say, I am my own worst critic. Nobody's harder on me than I am. And my response to that is, stop it! Why are you doing that to yourself? You have to be your biggest fan, because if you can't at the end of the day say, I did a good job, who is? We don't have to constantly be angry at the things that are wrong. Why don't we choose to be happy about things that are right? We have the choice. That's our muscle. And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 106.5. Home to the Asian Oprah, number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course, the most important place, my YouTube TV channel, where you can watch and listen every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time with topics and guests and special series that will help you be happier physically, mentally, emotionally. And today's no exception. I have with me my newest co-host. His name is Mark Simon. He is the founder and director of NORI Nutritional Oncology Research Institute. He's been my subject matter expert and kind of blowing up some BS, some past belief systems that I've had about eating, nutrition, what's good and not so good for my body. We've been talking. Welcome back to the studio, Mark. Before the break, we've been talking about diabetes. We've been talking about the food pyramid and the correction in the food pyramid. So, what can we do in baby steps right now? So, okay, Dr. Marissa, you convinced me I need to take more responsibility for what I'm putting in my system. Last week, the challenge was a fruit diet. What can we do this week? Or for the next 2 weeks?
Maybe think about the grocery store, the center aisles where all the poison is, and gravitate more towards, it's either on the left side or the right side where they have all the produce. Try to fill your shopping cart up with as much fresh produce as you can, vegetables, fruits. Start eliminating all the processed junk. And then the section is usually in the back of the store, usually is the butcher's counter or whatever. Try to build a consciousness of what that is exactly. Does that contain any fiber? Does it contain anything that's really good for me and healthy? Or is it just a cultural habit? What is that? Where did it all come from? It certainly got processed through a slaughterhouse. So build that consciousness of what all that is and what all that represents. When you walk past that whole meat counter, when you walk past where the eggs are, the dairy section, the milk, the cheese, these are products from a cow. Okay, so the eggs are basically chicken embryos. So think of it that way. Do I want to really put that substance into my body? And then the milk and the cheese, these came out of a cow's udder. Well, is it an appropriate food for a grown human being? Does it contain anything that's healthy for me? Does it contain fiber? No, but it does contain saturated fat, and it does contain cholesterol and hormones and all kinds of stuff that are not so good for me. And this business with calcium, that was debunked a long time ago, that you need milk, to get enough calcium in your diet. Well, it turns out the countries that consume the most dairy, the most milk, have the highest rates of osteoporosis.
Wow.
Yes.
America being one of them?
Yes. European countries, America. And
Interesting.
it's because the milk also contains a high amount of phosphorus. So the key is this balance, this ratio of calcium to phosphorus, which you will find in fruits and vegetables. You will find an appropriate balance of calcium to phosphorus in plant-based foods.
There's another thing I didn't know.
Nothing to do with calcium. But the food manufacturers, really co-opted that notion that, we need calcium, we need dairy for strong bones, when the opposite is true.
Interesting. Yeah, these are all, just things that we take for granted as the truth, and the debunking, and that it's to me, it's like shocking. Like, how could that be? Like, how could I not know any of this? So, but I'm not going to beat myself up or anybody else. The fact is, we now know there's enough research that shows you don't get hot milk is not as good for you as originally told, right? And the balance of calcium and phosphorus is perfect in fruit and vegetables, not processed food. That tells you that you need this, and that this is a giant marketing, giant the whole, I'm thinking to those commercials about eggs. I used to wonder, like, why would they do a commercial about eggs? Because everybody eats eggs. Or why would they do a commercial about moo eat cow? And that, I understand, it's to foster a desire to eat things that have been shown with happy faces, right?
Programming.
Brain
Programming.
really what it is, or BS creating. And so these are pretty big things, even though you've been immersed in this for a long time and you understand all of this. It is really, honestly, unless y'all can tell me I'm wrong, but I know that I'm hearing stuff for the first time here that I had no clue about. And PETA aside, you encroached on that. The I don't know if I really wanted to hear about the egg embryo thing. I I know it's a good one too. My older daughter was vegan for years and years, and it was from the pita base. So there's one thing about you don't want to eat things that are cute and fuzzy and animal living being. How dare you? There's nothing wrong with that, but it does have this oh, you're a tree hugger kind of thing. The focus that I want us to really hammer home is this is about your body. This is about what your body craves, what your body needs, what your body is naturally going to thrive on. So my final word today is the focus on protein was not a balanced story. It's the focus on fiber that makes our bodies thrive is the message that I want us to leave here for me. That when I'm looking in my fridge or going to buy stuff, I'm not thinking about protein. I want to think about fiber.
Yes, because that's essential for optimal gut health.
And gut health.
Everything comes back to the gut. Everything.
And why is the gut important? Because the gut supplies the food and nutrients for your brain.
Serotonin is produced in the gut. Yes. Our immune system resides in the gut.
Till last time you were on.
It's everything.
Yeah. There you have it.
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed another really informative and important discussion. Thank you, Mark Simon. We'll see you in another 2 weeks. It's all about balance, peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever for your gut. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Take back your life with Dr.